Good morning. It is August the 25th, 2016, and the Kansas City Jackson Hole Symposium kicks off this morning with the opening comments and speech given by the Kansas City Fed's George, as you would expect, because they are the sponsor of this particular symposium. So, with various people picking up the mic and talking, for the next 2 days, the market is subject to news spikes. My guess after the news spikes hit, there can be a reversal, given the fact that Yellen doesn't speak until tomorrow. So the focus will be Yellen's speech, how she ties it all together. They've been floating trial balloons. My guess is that when it's all said and done, the Fed is ready to raise interest rates when the business conditions, economic conditions warrant. Their concerns will be the dollar and the global economy. They will say that the economic conditions of the United States reflect modest growth and that the labor conditions are improving for those that are still seeking work, not for those that sit on the sidelines. So my guess is we probably have a trading range subject to news spikes and a Yellen speech. Then it'll be what it'll be, and I don't think she'll say anything to hurt the stock market. So the status quo, interest rates as they are through the November elections, with a shot at one interest rate increase this year. The odds are jumping that it'll be in September, but most people still think it's going to happen if it happens in December. So that's where we find ourselves. So we've got resistance that basically starts at 9 to 14. The top of the overnight session, the Globex was 9.5. Very, very quiet market. So selling 9s to 13s, S1. I don't think we go a lot higher. 15s to 19s would be S2. On the buy side, the buck to 04. And then 25 to 29. Look for a pretty quiet session today. Jobless claims, 265. No one will pay any attention to it. Durable orders, plus 3.7. Big aircraft orders. Transportation, plus 0.5. That's a good number. If these numbers come in as forecast, it'll support modest economic growth. Natural gas inventories, plus 22B. No one will pay any attention to that. Markets, flash service PMI at 51.9. Might give us a little action. And then KC Fed, don't know. Last was at -6. So the focus is durable orders, transportation, perhaps service PMI, which can come in lower than forecast in the 7-year auction. We've had two great auctions. The price was 132.10. Prior to that, on the 2-year, we had a 132.05, so that gives us about a 132.07 average break-even cost. So I'm looking for the markets to close 132.07 or higher today, based on the auction. Trading range with an up bias due to the 7-year. That's where I see it. Subject to news spikes. Okay, last rotate up stopped at 15. We're currently at 9, so 12 to 16 will be number 1. Sell 1, 19 to 23. Sell 2, 27 to 31. Just going to play for a trading range today with an up bias. Supports the buck to 04. 25, 29 buy 1. 17, 21 buy 2. Boy, we're going to have a mosquito heaven here. We've got like 6 days of showers off and on forecast, and the mosquitoes have had a regular diet of water this summer. So insect foggers are spraying all the shrubs around your house. Has been what we've had to do this summer to keep the mosquito situation manageable. Okay, looking at gold, very, very quiet. We like the sell side, basically selling against 30. Right now we're at 26, so I think we're headed lower. So 28 to 30, sell 1. 34, 36, sell 2. Got this volume down here at 20, so we'll play for 20, 22, buy 1. And then 15 to 17, buy 2. Basically trying to buy 15 to 20s and sell 30 to 35s. And the durable orders numbers as forecast this morning would be a negative for gold. Also would be a negative for the euro. That's a pretty strong economic forecast. Speaking of which, okay, 75 held last night. We have buyers at 50 to 75, and we currently have a seller at 113 even, 113.25. So sell 1, 113 even, sell 2, 25. That's your sell zone on the buy side, 75. Then 50 for buy 2. Janet Yellen's speech should hold this market in check too. You know, a lot of people complain about high frequency trading and news algos and all this stuff. But think about what that does. If you know what you want to do and you have an area where you want to buy it or sell it, think what those news spikes can do for your ability to execute at a more favorable price. And a lot of people, when they get into this game, start complaining about market manipulation and the rest of it. And it's there every day. The Fed's the biggest offender, but once you understand what they do and how they do it, it enables you to buy and sell at pretty favorable prices given the current market price, and we can't forget that. 47 is resistance, and maybe supports down here at 45, 50, 46. 46 and a quarter is a low volume number. We have not taken that out. Put all this together, we're definitely looking at a B. We do have a P in the overnight session, so right now selling against 47 looks like it's a pretty reasonable trade. So 47, 47 and a quarter, sell 1. 50 to 75, sell 2. Think we're headed a little lower. 46 even, 46 and a quarter, buy 1. And 45, 50, 45, 75, buy 2. Yesterday, Iran is perfecting their approaches to U.S. military shipping in the Gulf of Hormuz. It is a checkpoint, and they're working on their swarm and their approach tactics. And they had 4 of the little gunboats close at high speed and stop, I think, about 300 yards from the U.S. ships. We do nothing. They're probing. They're seeing what our reaction is going to be. It's going to be nothing. This administration has basically given any bad guy in the world carte blanche to do what they want, to provoke us as they see fit. In our magnanimous way, we will not respond to that stuff. But what we're doing is we're encouraging them to do more. And for propaganda purposes, if things get really tough at home, they could go out there and get one of their boats blown up by the U.S. and get everybody back on their side. can't abandon us now because we're going to war with the United States, etc. So, I mean, what does a dictator need when things get really tough in his home country? They need a war. And the United States has encouraged that by failing to do anything about all these probes and incursions, etc., and also by financing it. We've given them $150 billion to finance all this stuff, and we've allowed them to go back into the world markets to grow their economy. And $150 billion of stimulus for their economy would be the equivalent of $1 trillion for stimulus for our economy. That's how big that number is. I think Jackson Hole freezes the market, so 60 to 65 should be reasonable support to get started. We'll see what happens. We do have news that can affect the trading. 74.76 on the sell side for sell 1, 79.81 for sell 2. Again, Yellen's speech tomorrow will be the market's focus. So 265 jobless claims, no one will pay any attention to it. It'll be lost in the durable orders. 3.7% plus. Durable orders plus 0.5%. Ex-transportation, that is the market's focus. PMI flash services, 51.9, can come in lower than forecast. Net gas inventory build, 22 BCF. And KC Fed was -6. That number could come in lower than forecast. So there's your news focus right there. Trading range. Lower bias as it opens, but I expect to find support in the 60-65 area. Going to take a bit to get everything up and posted. I'll get busy on that. I'll be back with you as soon as possible.